Abby Garrison, our Vice President of Community Investments, Melanie Hall, who works alongside me in Community Investments Manager, and then we have Cassie's Community Investments Manager, Melanie is Community Investments Assistant, and then Brian Ballou, Director of Grants as well. So we have a lot to get through in the next 30 minutes. So we are recording this session and are excited to share a little bit more about our 2030 impact agenda. So let's just jump in. So you guys might have heard over the last year all the different work that United Way has been doing in terms of trying to better understand the needs of the community and the ways that United Way is positioning itself in support of our funded partners, our community partners, our corporate partners. And so in the last year, we have worked really closely with a lot of gathering of data. So we started first with the needs assessment, and then we moved into community roundtables to really understand and hear stories of experiences from families in the community. So we sort of married this quantitative with this qualitative understanding. And then we started really deeply listening to our partners and trying to understand more about how to have this sort of shared vision for a future in Chattanooga. So something that is really, I think, important to state early on is that our mission and vision as United Way is not changing in this impact agenda. We're still looking to connect people and resources to build a stronger, healthier community. So that stays the same throughout this entire document and through our work over the next 7 years. But this really allows us to kind of focus and hone in on what does it mean for us to partner with organizations and really create impact in our community. So we can keep going, Melanie. So here's just a couple quick things that we heard from neighbors in our community roundtable sessions, in making sure that what we were doing is really grounded in research and that we were bringing our community into this design process, and it wasn't something that we were just doing on our own in a closed room. So feel free to kind of read through some of these. I think what was really important to us was understanding what success means to families. And what does it mean to feel safe and connected in our communities? What does it mean to foster social capital? How do we create change and promote that? So this is kind of a quick slide to kind of show us a little bit more about what we heard from our community. We can keep going, Melanie. So this is sort of the big picture of what is included in our impact agenda. So, previously, what you've heard from United Way is our focus really on health, stability, financial stability, and education. And that is staying true in a way, but what we're kind of moving towards is less of a focus of what we're doing to really who we're serving. So really making sure that people are at the heart of our work. And so what you really see here is a bigger understanding of a focus on children that live in families that grow up in communities. So really helping to build a vibrant, engaged, and equitable community where children and families can thrive. Supporting a healthy start and quality learning experiences for all children. And then investing in efforts to help working families obtain stable, high-quality jobs and take control of their financial future. So these are things that you've probably heard from us previously, but this is, again, just sort of a way for us to really hone in and put a stake in the ground in what it is that we're really looking to see and create impact in our community. Thank you, Ben. So again, something you guys have probably really connected to in the last couple of years from United Way, and something that, again, we're really looking to share more broadly and really ground our work in is this understanding of ALICE households. So this stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, but Employed. So this is really looking at a better understanding of what financial hardship looks like in our communities. We have actually a webinar that we did a couple months back that is on our website that you can find. There's also a bunch of different dashboards and data to kind of dig into what that looks like in your service areas or in our community. But one of like the biggest number that really stands out to us that we're really wanting to ground our work in is that in Hamilton County alone, so not even our full service area as United Way, but just in Hamilton County, there are 9,500 households with children growing up in financial hardship. So that is meaning that they are working paycheck to paycheck. They are, maybe a $500 crisis away from losing a house or being in such intense medical debt that they can't get a leg up. So this is also sort of grounded in the idea that cost of living has increased by over $11,000 for a family of 4 with 2 children in childcare this year alone. So we get this ALICE data every year updated, and we have our most recent reports also on our website, and you'll continue to hear more from us around the ALICE data. So we're going to hand it over to Cassie to kind of give us a little bit more of a deep dive into some of the grounding metrics and ideas around what is included in the impact agenda, and I'll let her take it from here.
Thanks, Anna. Yeah, I'd like to talk a little bit about how we're really focusing in on this two-generation approach. So there's a great visual here that shows you two-generation is saying that in order to focus on the whole family, we need to make sure that we have programs that are child focused with parent elements and also parent focused with child elements. We have to be serving all members of the household in order to make the most significant impact. So it's going to be a big focus for us as we move forward with our 2030 impact agenda. Go to that next slide, Melanie. So, three big things that we want to make sure that we're focusing on over the course of these next 6 years is one, accountability. We have an internal value of own it. We want to make sure that we are capturing data from our community investments partners and sharing data from the community as well that is valuable, and that we are holding ourselves up against that data and measuring how we are succeeding in our impact goals, and also so that the public can see how we're working and holding ourselves accountable internally as well. So this is a promise from our organization as we move forward to make a better future for our community. The next area, go ahead and move on, is community-led investing. Some of you may be familiar with our community investments funding process. If you're not, we are going to keep our philanthropy following this model in which we have members of our community serve as both volunteer reviewers of the grant applications, and we have a diverse community investments committee board that takes those reviews from our volunteers and helps decide where funding will be allocated within our community. And they reflect the different areas of our community, and they reflect the different areas that we are addressing through our grant making. And we always want funding decisions to be led by our community members for our community. And the last area we'll move on is, of course, we want everything that we do to be grounded in equity. We know that systemic inequities have hindered progress and opportunities for certain people in our community over time. And we really want to promote programming and processes that foster inclusivity and make sure we're measuring process using disaggregated data to make sure that our reach is extending the most in need parts of our community, and also to see those areas that we need to continue to serve more. And from here, to dig a little deeper in, I'm going to turn it over to Abby Garrison, our Vice President of Community Investments.
Thanks, Cassie. Thank you. Okay, so I am going to go into a little bit more detail on each of the three focus areas we have, starting with opportunities for all children. And what this is all about is supporting a healthy start and quality learning experiences for children, regardless of race, regardless of income, regardless of neighborhood, or regardless of ability as well. So all about opportunities for children. I'll go to the next slide. A little bit of a snapshot of kind of some data points that we found interesting related to the state of our children, particularly here in Hamilton County. We know that kids have more opportunity to thrive when they have a healthy start in life, when they have great quality learning experiences that are helping prepare them for adulthood, and also when they have healthy, engaged caregivers at home, right? So we also know that this is universally true for all children, regardless of background, but also that unfortunately there's lots of kids in our community who don't have the same access to these building blocks of opportunity that other groups of children might. So for that reason, we're going to be, the data is leading us to tell us that we need to focus on kids who are living in families who are living below the ALICE threshold. And additionally, within that group of children, those we also have to kind of focus on the fact that those ALICE households with children are disproportionately kids and families who are BIPOC in their background. So we're gonna take a little bit of a different lens than we have in the past and really focus on some disaggregated data that's leading us to where our investments need to go. Can go to the next slide, Melanie, please. Thanks. Specifically, we have some shared impact goals that we are hoping that y'all will come along with us on trying to do for our community. We know that through our investments, we're hoping to support families in giving their kids a healthy start. So these 5 bullets are really these 5 bullets are really like the kind of the main impact goals, but a little bit more detail about each of them. We're hoping to invest in models that are proven to support healthy birth outcomes, quality maternal and infant health care, as well as children's early development. We're also wanting to invest in efforts that increase access to health care with a particular focus on mental health. A lot of the data we saw said that that's just a really underserved area, and that increase access to fresh, local, healthy food, improving nutrition for children and families. Again, all of this is data driven. All of this are investments that we're looking to make based on what the data has told us. In order to support early quality learning experiences, we're hoping to invest in improving access to culturally appropriate, high quality early childhood education, as well as out of school time programs. Really wanting to focus on programs that support whole child development and that also engage the family members every step of the way. Again, knowing that childcare is not just about what's happening in school, but also what's happening at home. In order to promote greater educational and health equity, we're wanting to really promote community voice and leverage strategic partnerships, as well as policy and systems change. You're going to see us really leaning in at United Way on advocacy and public and corporate policy work. And we really want to help families and civic leaders play an active role in making children's development and their well-being just central to everybody's decision making. We want to put children front and center in everyone's thinking, regardless of whether they have kids at home or they're decision and policy makers that trickle down and affect kids. Let's go to the next slide. So that's all about opportunities for children. Let's move on to talk a little bit more about economic mobility for families. So on this one, we are looking to invest in efforts that help working families obtain stable, high quality jobs and to take control of their financial future. So, back to what Hannah said, we know that children grow up in families. So the situation going on at home and the financial situation of families is of utmost importance to us. And we know that kids are more likely to thrive when their families are financially stable. I think we all know that. This slide in particular just shows a few of the data points that really stood out to us around, just what is making it so hard for families to make ends meet between rent and cost of living, as well as wages. Just all sorts of things are kind of culminating to make it really difficult for particularly ALICE households and those living below the ALICE threshold to make ends meet. Let's go to the next slide. Talk a little bit about our 5 particular impact goals around economic mobility. These are very much focused on working alongside partners. So please know that we know that as United Way and as the work that y'all are doing, none of this really gets done in isolation. And we're planning to work alongside partners, educational institutions, employers as well, to expand the options for obtaining and retaining a great job that's not just a high quality job, but also a stable, high paying, good paying job that also includes access to transportation, affordable housing, accommodations and benefits that enable people to consistently show up to work. We've heard over and over again, it's not just about getting the job, it's about helping people keep the job and get to the job. So know that we're going to be investing in things related to those. We also know that it's not just about working for a big company. For some people, it's about developing small businesses, right? And we want to invest in efforts that help small businesses and the jobs and wealth that they create really take hold in our community. We're also going to be seeking to help support organizations that help families take control of their own financial future. So think about kind of empowering smart financial literacy, financial decision making, helping build assets, things that help reduce the burden of debt. So looking to invest in programs that do those things as well. And then we also know we get these calls daily at 211. We know that there are plenty of families who, as much as they want to think about the long term, they are in a short-term crisis situation. And so we're going to continue investing, particularly through the Bridge Fund and our Bridge Fund partners, in short-term assistance and other resources that help people who are, moving from poverty, currently in poverty, moving into financial stability. In some cases, that's going to be direct assistance. That's a lot of what we've done in the past, and we'll continue doing that. We can, again, see a lot of need coming in through 211, but also directly to y'all as partners. But we're also going to try to support efforts that inform public policy, again, really leaning into our role as a mouthpiece for what our community needs to inform public policy and make corporate policy changes that can support better economic stability for families in our community. So let's keep going. The last kind of pillar, I guess pillar is not the right word, it's part of a cycle of our new impact agenda, is all about a more connected community. And so, excuse me, we really want to help build a more vibrant, a more engaged, and just a more equitable community where children and families can thrive. We know that that's the kind of safety net, that wraparound supports the community is what helps really get things done. So we can go to the next slide. Again, sharing some of the data here, but the story that we started seeing when we were looking at a lot of the research that's come out recently around community and connectedness is that connected communities are resilient communities, and that in order to be resilient, we've got to be prepared to mobilize resources and work together in moments of crisis. We've also got to build a place and neighborhood and communities where all children and all families can thrive and contribute and feel a part of something. We also know that around community, there's so much going on that's dividing us right now, that we at United Way really want to celebrate individual uniqueness, but also really helping find kind of that shared humanity that unites us, that's bigger than any one person. We're hoping to, in order to achieve this, we're hoping to both acknowledge the root causes and some of the kind of historic problems that have gotten us to where we are, acknowledge our current social norms like social media and the political landscape we find ourselves in, but then really focus as United Way in helping bring people together to help transform our community and move beyond some of those things. So specifically our shared impact goals that Melanie has just put up here, we are seeking to advance connection. We want to promote racial equity and build a generation of kids who know that they matter. In order to achieve this, we're going to really work on investing and bridging the gap between those who are in need and those who are willing to help. So that's kind of fundamental to who United Way is. I mean, our mission is about connecting people and resources, right? And so we are going to do even more of that work of building connections and community. We're going to be working across the community to build deeper connections among local businesses, nonprofits, state and local governments, and to really just foster more collaboration and more innovation. We've been doing some of this for years, but really want to see even more of this. And we just know that none of these really complex systemic challenges that we face are going to get done alone, and that we really see United Way's role as a convening entity to help bridge some gaps. The core of our work in connecting community is going to be around promoting civic engagement and empowering individuals to be a part of the solution with us. So you can see kind of along the bottom a lot of the things that we're going to be doing through United Way, as well as investing in those things within our community partners. So just want to close this one out by saying that we really believe that uniting people in the human experience is essential to creating a vibrant, connected, equitable community that we envision, and hope that you will join us on that goal. So I'm going to hand it over to Brian to walk us through what's next.
Yeah, thanks, Abby. As Abby went through those, the opportunities for all children, economic mobility for families, and a more connected community, she listed 5 of those impact goals that are going to be associated with each of those. Just note that we are actively working behind the scenes to understand which metrics we feel like will best represent and funnel in to those 3 areas. So that information will be communicated to you all at a later time, but just note that it is something we're working on. And to that, we're trying to lay pieces of the foundation here today, and there will be opportunities for you all to work with our nonprofit support team with Hannah and Cassie on some things. So coming up on the 27th is the United for Working Families. That's at the Westin Hotel. If you have not registered to attend that, please do. We kicked it off for the first time last year. There's a lot of excitement around that. So if you're interested in learning more about what that looks like, how it can be put into practice in your workplace and in your environment, that's a really good opportunity to rub shoulders with a lot of different people from the community. The data storytelling for grant writing, there's going to be some trainings on that here in a few months in September and October. Day of Caring, which, when we think about a more connected community, this is a big one for United Way. This is a massive volunteer effort on a single day, and on this year it's going to be on September the 20th. The sites are going to be listed here shortly if they haven't been already, and we're still collecting volunteers if you're interested in serving on that day. So we'll get you information to touch base with Natalie Patrick and her team if any of you all are interested there. A little bit of a deeper dive into this impact agenda. There's going to be a series on the intro to the two-generation approach on October the 9th. So I believe there's an Eventbrite listing out there if you're interested in attending. There's also a Co-Starters Boot Camp in October where you all come together for those who are interested with an innovative idea, discuss it amongst yourself, and find out how to integrate that into launching new programming that might be specific to your community members. We also have later this fall, dates are to be determined, but we want to introduce program evaluation for those who are looking to learn more about data collection, reporting, tracking, all these sorts of things. There's going to be an evaluation workshop that we are, again, in the midst of putting together currently, and we'll be releasing that soon. And then in November, all this is going to be tying into our new grant process and how that's going to look. So we want to host a few sessions on what's changing, what might be staying the same, and some things to pay attention to and look forward to when it comes to our grants. And as you see at the very end, the grant applications will open in January. We haven't nailed down an exact date, but it should be within the first half of that month if we anticipate that. And for those applications in early to mid-December, we are going to have a couple sessions to help guide you guys there. So if you're interested in applying for a grant for the 2025 year, please show up to that, because this will be a really deeper dive into all the things that makes our grant making. So that's kind of the timeline for the next 6 months. And I think we have a few minutes for questions if anybody wants to chime in.
I have a
Yes, you can.
question.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
So, in thinking about our programs and what might be funded and what you're going to fund, is it that the impact goals you mentioned on children, economic mobility, and community are basically what you're looking to fund, like uh, pregnant mothers and babies, medical access, early childhood, those kinds of things? Or is it that it might expand beyond those particular things if it falls within the goals of serving children with a focus on parents and parents with a focus on children, et cetera?
Yeah, more of the latter. We're focused on the two gen approach is really the way we're going. So there's not necessarily like a very narrow age category that we're hyper focusing on. Abby, I don't know if you want to speak more to that.
I'm trying to understand your question, Linda. Is it just those specific goals?
Well, and I'm just trying to get an idea of what you would continue to fund, as in the steps to success.
Mhm.
And if not, how these new impact goals play into what will be funded.
The new impact goals are the funding focus. Yes.
Sorry, I just didn't say that very clearly, did I?
No, that's fine. Sorry, I hope that I'm not oversimplifying your question either. But yeah, the impact goals are definitely the focus of our investments going forward. I think you'll find that there's a ton of overlap with the steps to success. I think that we all know that there's, multiple ways to get to the same endpoint, right? And so we're definitely still wanting to support organizations and the work that you're doing and the way that you're doing it. But we definitely are looking to prioritize the impact goals that we share.
Yeah, I just see some things that we do previously that may not fall into anything I heard today. So I'm just, we need to know now if it has something that is not going to be funded in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to talk in more detail offline if there's specific things that your organization, your programs are thinking of. But yeah, I mean, we're certainly at a place where we are trying to be more intentional and be more focused on where we're putting our investments. I think y'all have heard us beat this drum over and over again that we've gotten this year. It was close to $13 million in requests, and $4 to $5 million a year. And so we've got to figure out how to be strategic about where we're putting the dollars that we raise. So yeah, definitely trying to get more specific, more intentional, and more focused on what we're investing in. So yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Max, see that you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I just had a quick question about what the impact on the funding priority change will be on volunteer efforts, volunteer funding, and the way that impact or catalyst funding is applied specifically for volunteers.
I'm sorry, what do you mean? Like, are you currently getting funding for volunteer work?
Well, so volunteerism was, as I understand, traditionally a focus of United Way. Like, as in, at Signal Centers, we do have, a lot of programs that, that have volunteerism opportunities. And this sounds like to me a pretty extensive reorientation. And so I just wanted to find out what are the projected impacts on that.
Yeah, I think that any programs or efforts or organizations that promote community members coming together to solve problems collectively, and if that's in the form of volunteerism, then that's great. That's absolutely something that we support and would love to see more of. So I think I think it sounds like you're in a good position if you've got a lot of volunteerism going on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Max. Well, listen, I know we're at time, right, Hannah? At 12. So I think what we want to just reiterate to y'all, that's why all of us are here today. Just want to make sure that you all hear the message loud and clear that we're here to discuss. We want to be as transparent and as open a book about any changes that are coming. So we're happy to have more offline conversations. This is going to be posted online for anybody who couldn't make it. But also just reach out to anybody in our team. I'll just say it again. We would be happy to talk through anything with you. We also, I think Cassie mentioned this, maybe Brian as well, have more coming around the metrics and the outcomes. We are trying to thread that needle of both being comprehensive, but also trying to make things as simple and as clear and as least, burdensome on everybody involved as possible. So really hoping we hope and we think that you're going to like some of the changes coming around reporting and the specifics and the simplicity that we hopefully are going to be bringing there. We have hired someone to help us think through that. And so that is not like fully ready to publish, but it will be by those dates that Brian shared. And if anybody is interested in giving us some feedback on that, as that's getting more fully developed, we would welcome that as well. So if you hear nothing else, just reach out to us. We're an open book, open ears, and excited to continue this work with all of y'all.
Great. I can close this out really quick. I dropped the unitedwaychaw.org/impact2030 link in the chat, so anybody can access that to read more fully into the document. This webinar will be posted there. Any information. If you want to stay up to date, make sure you join our newsletters. You can join our big United Way newsletter, but then also on our nonprofit support page. That newsletter goes out once a month and has all of our events and resources on it. So make sure you're signed up for that. And then also all of our events are coming up soon. You can register through the website as well. So hope you guys all have a great day. Thank you for being here, for being a community partner of ours, and we will see you soon.